In 1951, Moton High School student Barbara Johns made a bold decision, one that would contribute to a historic change in American education. Moton was in Prince Edward County in the era of the doctrine of separate but equal. But nothing was equal for the county's black student population. Their school was overcrowded. There was no cafeteria or gym. There weren't enough books or adequate lab equipment. Barbara Johns knew this was wrong, so at 16 years old, she organized a student walkout at Robert Russa Moton School.
In many ways, it's the start of the civil rights movement, right? This is pre-Rosa Parks, this is pre-Civil Rights Act, this is pre-Selma March. I mean, this is when we're really beginning to address, are we going to be a segregated society or an integrated society?
It all happened right here at what is now the Robert Russa Moton Museum in Farmville, a National Historic Landmark that tells a story of this spark to a revolution in access to equal education. The student protests caught the attention of Richmond's civil rights leaders Martin A. Martin, Oliver Hill, and Spottswood Robinson, who traveled to Prince Edward County. After seeing the shoddy conditions of the school, they quickly filed suit in federal district court, charging inequalities and discrimination in educational facilities, and boldly stating that school segregation was unconstitutional. Hill and Robinson's lawsuit was rolled into the landmark Supreme Court case we now know as Brown v. Board of Education. But Prince Edward County did not accept this decision. They began the infamous massive resistance to integration, ultimately closing all of the county's public schools in 1959. A private Prince Edward Academy was created for the county's 1,500 white students. But for black children like A.D. Chucky Reed, who was just 8 years old at the time, the school doors were locked shut.
As we be out on the street, you'll see the academy buses go by, and you see the kids waving at you, smiling, pointing, like they was making fun of you. You know, you don't have a school to go to, you know, and it really hurt.
Schools remained closed until 1964, when the courts ordered them reopened. The county's black students lost 5 years of their public education. Ultimately, however, the forces of white supremacy lost their case in the eyes of the law. Integration was realized at long last.
I tell folks often that if you were to sum up this story, it's about young people, particularly, who use the tools of democracy to create change. For the students here at Moton, for the community, they were using the legal system to bring about change.
So all these quintessential civil rights era events have yet to happen.
Today, in partnership with nearby Longwood University, the Moton Museum works to not only tell the story of Prince Edward County and the leading role its citizens played in America's transition from segregation to integration, but also to promote dialogue and serve future generations as an education and policy center.
And I hope that Moton continues to really be a voice with the way in which individuals can become civically active and civically minded through their actions in their communities.